on, you outdoor mavericks? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best baits for trolling for trout. Now, when it comes to trolling for trout, you don't have to have the most expensive boat or the most expensive gear to catch some trout. However, if you got the right baits and the right presentation, it can be the most epic day of trout fishing ever. Now, when it comes to fishing, especially when you're trolling for trout, the three S's of fishing, which are sight, scent, and sound, play a big part of your success in trolling and catching for trout. And so the number 5 bait for trolling for trout are going to be spoons and Castmasters. Now, the reason I love spoons and Castmasters for trolling for trout is because they have a lot of action in the water behind the boat. Now, with spoons and Castmasters, you can put these behind a lake troll. You can also troll these straight out the back a couple feet below the surface. You can even add a little weight dropper and get these down a little bit farther into the water and into the strike zone. But the Castmasters and spoons are great because they have a wild and wide action as they're moving throughout the water, but you can also add a little bit of a gel or spray scent to each one of these, but you won't mess up the action with that scent. So you'll get the action and the scent on the Castmaster and the spoon if you're trolling for trout. And if you can't catch any trout trolling with these, consider stopping, anchoring up, and jigging with them, because there's definitely an opportunity where you can grab these out and jig for trout, and that's a lot of fun. Now, my number 4 bait for trolling for trout is something with a lot of bling, which is going to be the wedding ring. Now, wedding rings are very popular for trolling for trout. They have that blade in the front that swings back and forth to give that motion and that bling in the water, and in between the blade and the 2 hooks set up on these wedding rings, you've got some beads as well as the metal ring in the middle, which hence gives it its name, the wedding ring. Now, the main reason I love the wedding ring for trolling for trout is you've got the spinner blade and blade action up front, but with the double hook setup, this allows you to add some baits and tip some baits onto these hooks. Baits like night crawlers and worms are perfect for these wedding rings. And this is a great bait if you're going after trout and kokanee, but in particular for trout, you can tip these with a bait or a custom bait that you like, and you're gonna be able to get those trout to come in from the side and get hooked up. Now, besides cord and night crawlers, but also consider power eggs from Berkeley as an alternative bait to add to your wedding rings. So the next time you hit the water, grab a wedding ring, hear the wedding ring bells sing, and be ready to hook up a ton of trout. Now, my number 3 trolling for trout bait is gonna be the spinfish from Yakima Bait Company. Now, for trolling for trout, I like the spinfish 2.0 size. And these things come in a ton of colors, but the reason I love the spinfish the most is because you're able to stuff the inside of the 2 parts of the plug with your own custom bait. So you can put corn, night crawlers, shrimp, power bait, whatever you desire, but also add a little bit of scent into that chamber to give that really custom scent that you're gonna want to go after the trout. And then with the spinfish, you've got that circular motion in the water. So you've got sight, scent, and sound with the spinfish, and that's a deadly combination for this new plug and bait that's come out from Yakima Bait in the last year. The shorter leader length that you go with, the more and wider spin that it's gonna have. So the farther and longer leader that you have, the slower the rotation is gonna be on the spinfish. So if you're out trolling for trout and you got multiple spinfish out in the water, change up your distances of your leaders and see that maybe one is spinning a certain way, or maybe you got one stuck with a really custom bait that's super hot. Switch over to that color, that bait combo, and that leader length size, and guarantee you're gonna catch more and more trout throughout the day. Now, when it comes to trolling for trout, having a lot of action on your lure or jig is something that's very overlooked by a lot of anglers. So my number 2 bait for trolling for trout is gonna be plugs. Now, the reason I like the flatfish as well as the maglet 2.0 and 2.5 sizes here from Yakima Bait Company, as well as Rapala plugs, is because of the skip beat and the action that all of these have in the water. When you got aggressive trout that are around and they're feeding and hungry, that skip beat action in the water is gonna be annoying, and when it's in their face, they're gonna strike at these plugs and they're gonna get hooked up and not let go. And once they grab the bait and that triple hook is in the lip, they are not gonna get out of that. Now, the other part about using these plugs is you can spray or add a little bit of a scent gel onto each one of these, like some Procure gels, to give it a little bit of that scent. And with the skip beat action in the water, the trout are gonna see these, they're gonna smell these, and they're definitely gonna go after them. With plugs, they're some of the best and biggest bites that you're gonna get on the water trolling for trout. And there's a couple different ways to fish the plugs. Now, one way to fish these is straight out the back, long lining these, letting them sink to the depth that they can go to, and then just waiting for the fish to pounce on them. The other ways to fish these are behind dodgers and flashers, also with maybe a little bit of a weight dropper if you need to drop them down into deeper water to get after the trout. Now, the number 1 reason that I love to use plugs is just just the big takedowns that you can get on the little trout as well as the big trout when you've got these plugs behind the boat. So make sure before you go out and hit the water that you've got plenty of colors and plenty of sizes of these plugs, because I guarantee you when you go out, there's gonna be one of these that's gonna be the epic color of the day that's gonna help you catch a lot of trout. Now when it comes to trolling for trout, I love the versatility of being able to swap colors and gear very, very quickly, but also it's very critical to have the sight, scent, and sound with the right gear to help you catch trout when you're trolling. And so with that, my #1 bait for trolling for trout is gonna be spinners. Now my favorite spinners for trolling for trout are the rooster tails, especially the original and the sonic versions, because one, they have the bling of the blade, you're gonna get that action, but you can also add scent to the rooster tail itself to attract the trout from farther distances. And with spinners like the Sonic here, you add a little bit extra vibration in the water to get the trout's attention. And as I said, versatility is huge when it comes to swapping out colors and baits when you're trolling for trout. If something's not working, I want to be able to switch it right away. And with spinners, you got the right setup. You can swap out colors and sizes really, really quickly to get to different depths of the water, change out colors depending on the water conditions, what the sun is doing, if it's up, whether it's behind clouds, and being able to change out and add different scents super quickly to find out what the trout are biting and get after them. Rooster tails are a very versatile bait, and because of that, you can fish them in a lot of different conditions and a lot of different water systems. So that's why I like the spinner as the #1 bait for trolling for trout. So before you head out, make sure you got enough colors and sizes and scents to go with these, because when you get them out, you're gonna catch some trout and have an epic day on the water. And that's my top 5 baits for trolling for trout. And I hope today's video, you guys got some tips and information to help you guys catch more trout the next time you hit the water. So before you head out to go chase some trout the next time on the water, make sure you got some of these baits to help you have an epic day of trout fishing. Hit that like button on the video, guys. Subscribe if you love trout fishing tips, and other outdoor content. And don't forget, guys, and as always, the outdoors is a gift. Share it with others.